Welcome back to As the Wheel Turns, So the Days Are Rides. Yes, breaking news today. That came out actually 2 days ago, and there's some backlash follow-ups that are just hammering through about Trek and the leak memo to upper execs from John Burke himself, acquired by bicycle retailer. Yep, those guys got a hold of it, made a small article, and kind of did some reviews. Some pretty mic drop bomb type news, basically. Trek's been really quiet about a lot of their stuff lately, and here it is. It's going to be released. So let's review some of these bullet points from Bicycle Retailer after this.
Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with a guy. Hi, I'm Justin the Guy. Obviously I have a garage shop. Take scary out of used, one bike at a time. If you want to be kept up to date on latest projects and topics, please like and subscribe.
Welcome back to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with the guy. Hey, I'm Justin the Guy on As the Wheel Turns, So the Days Are Rides. And this is Read Between the Lines series. Yes, this particular article dropped, and yes, it's a firestorm already and just starting to get momentum. So this is a special edition. I typically want to wait till Sundays to release this, but I figured I needed to get this out there just because. And it's one of those hot topics. And I'm probably going to have a part 2 FYI on some other information that I do acquire in the next few days and release that on Sunday. Well, without further ado, let's dive into this. I have the links to the article in the description below, so if you want to pause and read that now, so you have a little more insights and backstory, I will go over the bullet points as I'm going through this, but if you need to do that, pause now. Thank you for hanging out with me. Yes, I've basically been in the industry for over 30 years, and this is my opinion piece of what I've kind of have seen, and kind of my basically 2 cents of what is actually going around the water cooler. And this water cooler moment is kind of interesting, not too shocking, quite honestly, considering the whole bike industry in itself is having some very big struggles and learning, or actually in the process of trying to redefine itself from the top down. Yeah, well, let's rehash why we got here or how we got here. Well, COVID hit, boom, all the manufacturers went crazy, built too much stuff. Now they're oversupplied, did not read the tea leaves, and for mind-boggling, I do not understand, because I totally saw the back end of this falling even at the height, like, oh, this is going to crash, this is going to crash hard, be prepared, and it's going to crash soon. They didn't, I don't know who they were talking to, what they were thinking, but they did not see this coming. It didn't appear to be like, for some reason, they didn't seem like they knew what's going on. They just like, oh, we're going to increase our volume, and boom, all lo and behold, they all have way too much inventory. The sales have dropped, which everybody pretty much knew was going to happen, and then everybody's in a mad scramble trying to figure out how to get through all of this. From the small bike shop like myself at a garage to the big chain stores like Shields and Dick's Sporting Goods, to the major companies at Trek, Specialized, Pond, and Giant. They're all affected. They're all feeling these pains, and they're all trying to figure it out themselves. So they're not all alone, but it's not looking great. And there's been some leaks before this that possibly Trek, nobody really said Trek, but most likely it was, that they had about 5 or 6 years worth of inventory. That means they really overbought. I didn't really thought that too much, because they were not selling the farm, literally, right out of the gate like Specialized was. I mean, they were like cutting prices, and you look at the prices that Trek on their website versus the same make and model style price point. And the Specialized line, the Specializes were cheaper, and various other brands. So it didn't look like they were aggressively cutting, but that just means they've had bigger pockets to kind of, or a bigger well to pull from to this point. And all of a sudden, that well is getting kind of low for comfort. So they have to do some big decisions. Absolutely. Let's hit that. So the article says resizing 10% cut. That's kind of a weird way of putting you're cutting your overhead by 10%. What is that going to entail? Reading between the lines on this means yeah, you're going to be letting people go. You're going to be letting departments completely cut out. Um, I would say money that's going towards racers and that kind of thing, or promotions, that's going to be a cut. I think it's going to be a cut across the board, as they need to shrink it down. They got too inflated, and the bucket has too many holes, so they got to plug a few of those. And yeah, I don't think that's going to be just it to the 10%. I think that's a very modest number considering how big they are. But then again, how big they are, 10% is pretty huge. This one's a kicker because I was inventory manager and managed inventory for shops and helped a program manage inventory across the nation for several shops. And when you say reduction of 40% of their SKUs within 2026, well, yeah, 2025 numbers are already been ordered, so they can't reduce that quickly. We're talking about big ships here, so it takes them a couple of years to just redirect. So that's what we're seeing here. 2 years down the line, yeah, they're redirecting. They're cutting 40%. That's almost half of their SKUs. Think about it. Well, I know they've been overinflated in SKUs, been inventory manager for years, and being in a truck dealer and dealing with all those SKUs is nightmarish. I mean, too much stuff, way too much. You don't need 800 things that do the same damn thing. It's just common sense. I mean, you need to scale that down, and they're just now realizing 40%, that's almost half of their stuff that just need to be cut down the line. Well, 10% redirect, 40% SKU reduction, those numbers are bigger. And when you talk about 40% SKU reduction, that's less products that they're having manufactured, from clothing to shoes to bikes. What affects that? All the companies that make those things. Shimano, SRAM, the clothing companies, the wheel companies, all those little companies over in Taiwan and overseas and elsewhere are going to have a huge cut from one of the biggest companies in the cycling world producing bikes. That's going to have a ripple effect, big time. So those are probably the big two takeaways from this press release memo thing, right? But then it goes on about John Burke and a chaos of the industry and all this, excuses, excuses, excuses. Yes, you can say whatever you want, but we all know the industry is kind of shaken right now, and that's just not in the cycling world. It's all manufacturing and all big business and all big retail. So they're all kind of finding their new foothold. What's this mean for you? Well, as an independent bike dealer, well, I'd keep everybody at a good arm's length as a brand, because you don't know when they're going to go belly up, like Wiggle and New Proof and all that, and you lose your warranties and all that kind of craziness. Or, if you're the consumer, same thing. You may buy that bike online and hey, lo and behold, you don't have any warranties or anything like that. So yeah, the deal better be good enough to offset those issues along with other things. But, this is a huge redirect. We knew this was going to happen. As much John Burke himself wants to say it's the chaos of industry and it's not just us. It's like they really need to be shaken by the core to realize that they really need to make product for consumers that want stuff. I mean, and can afford it too. I mean, it's just a no-brainer. It's one of those things they're trying to have been dictating the market ever since the turn of the century, since 2020, 2021, or actually they've been trying to dictate the market since 2000, 2001, when they switched everything over to corporate store, or not corporate store, but concept stores. Now they got into corporate stores. Now what's next? Well, who knows? I mean, we're all in kind of a new wild west of it, but how I see it, we're actually going full circle. Crazy, right? Full circle means back in the late 80s, early 90s, when my parents opened up Parker Bikes, yes, we had a rep meeting before they even opened to determine what lines they wanted to carry. And this was kind of a crazy thing because they had all these reps together in the same room competing against each other in a kind of relaxed setting. It was kind of weird. But in any case, they had the Trek, the Specialized, the Schwinn, GT, Mongoose, those brands that were regular bike brands back then were competing to be in bike shops. And we were a bike shop opening in a new area, so they're all kind of thirsty for opening the door, right? We landed on Trek and Schwinn for our main two lines. So here's the precursor, or at least a history lesson. Schwinn went through the same kind of inflated business, and look where they are today. Well, they're definitely not owned by the Schwinn family. Nope, they are actually owned by Pond Holdings, which is now in Walmarts and department store brands and so forth. Could this happen to Trek? Well, it can happen to any of them. Let's just throw it out there. All those companies from, hey, Sports Authority. Oh, you heard Blockbuster? I mean, yeah, they're different apples. They're not apples to apples, that kind of thing. But when you look at the shakeup and the role of how all this is evolving, you gotta wonder if this is it. Is it? Hopefully not. I hope they just redirect, go back to their core, find where they came from. Look at this Trek 1000. It's a late 80s, early 90s. That was back in the day when they actually supported their dealers-ish, and they were clawing and fighting to be a brand. Yeah, they're going to have to do that again. They're going to basically have to go find their grassroots, help out the independent bike dealers, go that direction. But are they? Well, they're staying the same course according to the article. Nothing's really going to change too much. So more of the same, but less? I don't know. It's just kind of bizarre. Anyway, I don't see this going too far in the sense that, yeah, they're going to have some issues. They're going to redirect. They're still going to be around, and they're going to get back on their heels and open up more stores, and Specialized is going to follow suit, and bike shops that are independent are going to be in the crosshairs trying to figure out what they're going to do. Either they carry Specialized or Trek or both. Hopefully they're big enough to sustain this rockiness and crazy, but hey, they have inventory, but hopefully they don't get undercutted by the actual manufacturer's price structuring like Specialized does. They like, oh, buy this stuff from us. Oh, we're going to discount it in 3 months. So you best sell it, or it's going to be discounted and you're going to be paying that inflated price. In any case, it's just a hot mess, and this is finally some words from the horse's mouth, John Burke himself, on the pen to paper, saying they're in trouble too. Yeah, they're all in trouble. How far does it go? How much are they going to change? I don't know. Please put some comments below and tell us your opinion. This is a community piece, right? You got some insights? Throw it down. If you have some opinions, you've worked in the shop that has Trek or Specialized or what have you, throw those down too. It's one of those things that at the end of the day, we're not going to totally know the truth. They're going to press release or not press release. They're going to release some information of what those cuts are going to look like by the 8th, but who knows that even will come to light or see the light of day. But in any case, they're redirecting like the other brands. And, well, I don't know. Those little bike shops, we're already having a pretty good year. So they just have to hold on long enough till it actually trickles up instead of trickle down. This is one of those weird situations where when you're diverse, like a bike shop like myself, we will get out of this a little less unscathed because we can redirect and recover quicker or quickly compared to the big ships that are just running aimlessly in the Bermuda Triangle right now. They are just so freaking lost. They lost their connection with their dealers. They lost connection to their lower employees. They lost connection to, even worse, their customer. And this has been going on for a couple of decades. They can't drive the narrative. They're going to have to sit back and listen to you customers going, hey, we want a solid bike that's under $1,000 to get into riding, and we want to have all the warranties and the service backing and all that to go with it. We don't want something that's shipped to our house and we have to put it together ourselves. I mean, some people do. That's fine. There's a whole market for it. And guess what? Canyon is, they're the ones that are the strongest out of all this situation. I mean, wow. I didn't think I'd see that coming. But in any case, thanks for hanging out with me. Hope to have some more insights and information, or at least, conversational piece coming up on part 2 on this installment of Is Truck Failing? Any case, thanks for hanging out with me. If it's beautiful in your neck of the woods, go out for a ride. Let all this stuff just blow over. Just get out of your head. Have a good time. Regardless, again, thanks for hanging out with me from the garage. Until next time.